Remember, if we reject you, don't take it personally. It's us trying to protect you from putting yourself into a bad situation. Hey guys, my name is John Deblot, and I'm the founder of the Diaspora Freedom Initiative, and this is the Freedom Philosophy. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I know a bunch of you guys have sent me some messages. Some of you guys are disappointed that you've been turned away. So let me explain how we engage, especially in our highest level offerings, right? Typically, when it's a word of mouth referral, those people typically onboard at the highest percentage. Word of mouth referrals, they onboard at around 90%. So it's almost a guarantee that if we've worked with your friend, you're probably someone kind of like your friend, and therefore you probably qualify. Cold referrals are accepted at a rate of about 1/3, so 33.33%, right? So the reason for that is that not everybody qualifies to work with us. We do that on purpose because we would rather that we screen you and make sure that you're qualified than we take your money and leave you stressed out in the end. Right? We want to make sure, especially with our highest quality offerings, like our bound ladder strategy, where people move over here and never have to work another day in their life. We got to make sure that that person is qualified, because if they're not, then that strategy falls apart. They have to be able to deploy that minimum level of capital necessary to then be able to ride out the returns on that capital for the rest of their life. Right? It is a very small amount of money compared to what you would need to accomplish the same thing in a place like, say, America or the UK or Canada. However, it is a requirement. If we cannot deploy capital accurately, then that person starts struggling versus having a stream of passive income that doesn't stop for the next, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years, and they find themselves in a really great position versus us just taking the money of somebody who's not qualified, bringing them through, the process, and then in the end, they're actually struggling to make ends meet. In our highest level offerings, like our bond ladder strategy, we screen for capital readiness. That's the only way that those high level strategies work, or else everyone would be doing them. If you could just relocate from the United States and never have to work a day in your life, why wouldn't everybody do that, right? You have to be capital ready. There are some people who work with us until they're capital ready, and we're willing to do that as well. But we have to screen people out who do not qualify. There are plenty of people who will just take your money and leave you stuck. People who will just take your money and leave you stuck. We are not in that category. We are going to be working with you for the next 7 years until you get whatever permanent status you're looking for, whether that's permanent residence or whether that's dual citizenship. All right. So we need to make sure that we set you up for success. If you need to move first and figure income out later, we have a program for that. It's called Rapid Relocation, where you get 1 year essentially to figure things out, because you get your rent paid for an entire year, you get a place to stay fully furnished and all of that for an entire year, and you get your immigration status taken care of, typically for 3 years. Right? So you have 3 years of immigration status taken care of, and you have 1 year of a fully furnished, place to stay at the beach, and you can do a rapid relocation, right? That's designed for people who want to call us on Monday, be on a plane on Friday, okay? No problem, we can do that. But at our highest level offerings, which essentially provide freedom and generational wealth perpetually, essentially, those offerings require screening, and it requires you to actually qualify. If you don't qualify, we will say no. So that's why many of you guys have been turned down in applying for the bond ladder strategy. You can go to the website and apply at any point in time. But if we reject your application, it's because it appeared as though you didn't have what it takes to succeed in that strategy, and we do not want to set anyone up for failure. The right clients hear our standards and they feel relief, not resistance. So you got to ask yourself, if you hear, our standards, and you hear that we're not just going to take everybody's money and we are going to turn away 66% of applicants, if that doesn't give you relief, then you're probably not the target client for this type of program, and that's okay. When it comes to these high-level strategic offerings, what we do isn't complicated. We make sure that we set up passive income for our clients so that they're not concerned about income streams when they relocate here. It's essentially that simple. Now, the way we do it is pretty unique. We're one of the only firms that implement this type of strategy, but it does have prerequisites, and it does require a specific amount of capital to be deployed in order for the returns on that capital to give you that steady passive stream of income. You're not investing with us. We're not selling our own fund or our own investment opportunities or any nonsense like that, right? What it is it's a structured approach to investing in the government, and the government is guaranteeing your returns, and the government is paying you directly, right? We just set up the strategic approach to make sure that those payments come in the form of monthly income, because they're not typically set up that way for people who just directly engage with the government, right? So we set up strategic ladders that allow for monthly income that is predictable. You know exactly when it's going to be paid to you. You know exactly how much money you're going to be paid. You know exactly how long you're going to be paid. And in the end, you get the money back that you started with when you gave the government that initial amount of capital, right? So it's a way for you to maintain control of your capital, maintain ownership of your capital. You can actually sell your position with the government at any time in between on the secondary market. You typically lose when you do that, but you own your capital. You can, sell the rights to however many years that you're supposed to be getting these interest payments, right? These ROI payments, all right? And those payments come to you, and those payments are what will support you in your relocation. Doesn't mean that you have to quit your job. Just means that you probably don't need it, right? Depending on which tier of that program you get into. There are only 2 tiers, and you need to be able to deploy at the simplest tier, which may not cover everything for you. It'll definitely help, but it may not cover everything for you right away. That simplest tier, you're gonna wanna deploy about $75,000. And at your top tier, the tier that will take care of, all your bills and pay everything for you, all your needs, not your wants, is at $185,000. And remember, those payments continue for at least 10 years, right? So it's at least 10 years of payments, and then you get your original capital back, right, at the end of that. We have some folks that have as much as 25 years that those payments are guaranteed by the government, okay? Doesn't last forever. The government's gonna change its rates eventually, and when they do, it may not be worth it to exercise this strategy anymore. So it is a limited time strategy as well. So we cannot waste time with folks that do not qualify, and then have folks that do qualify not being able to get in touch with us because we're taking calls from people who don't qualify. So we're very, very strict on these types of programs because they're time limited. There are 2 things with these types of strategies. Number 1, what works today may not pay as much tomorrow. The rates on returns and the interest that the government is paying to you will eventually change, and it might get so low that the strategy doesn't matter anymore. And number 2, there is a minimum amount of capital that you need in order to work the strategy, right? So those are the 2 major factors coming into using this type of strategy. The benefits are that you can essentially retire way earlier than you ever thought you could, right? We have folks that are 35 years old and have executed this strategy, and they are now effectively retired, right? So you can take your position where you are now and convert that position into the position you're waiting to get to at 65, right? And be half that age. So those are the benefits to executing a strategy like. Remember, if we reject you, don't take it personally. It's us trying to protect you from putting yourself into a bad situation. If we go ahead and accept your application, congratulations. We believe that you're in a position where we can implement this strategy and it benefits you for the rest of your life. Now, if you think that you qualify, head on over to the website. You can use the menu and go to income streams, or you can just look down the website. It should be the second item that will talk about the bound ladder strategy. You can click on that to get more information, and then if you feel like it applies to you, you can apply, and then we will make a determination as to whether or not you're a good fit for us to work with, and we'll move forward from there.